In this video, I want to talk to you about what it's like being on 6 months of semen retention. So this is a video for you if you've already experienced semen retention, if you've tried and failed maybe, or if you're consistently or continually doing it right now, okay? If you don't know what it is, you don't know what NoFap is, this is not for you. This is people who are practicing or have practiced semen retention. Now, let me make things a little simpler here. The attachment, I'm gonna start with this, to the amount of days you've been on semen retention is the same attachment somebody might have to body count. This is something I've been thinking about lately. How some guys, right? I have this one dating course that I am a part of, or that I purchased a while back, and some of these guys in the course are like, I've been with hundreds, I've done 100 in 6 months, blah 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 blah. It's the same coin, just a different side, as someone who's saying, I've been on NoFap for 100 days, I've done semen retention for 900 days. I saw somebody recently on a YouTube comment say that. They're two sides of the same coin. They're both attachments to either promiscuity or extreme self-restraint. And both of them fuel the ego. And I've been on both ends wanting to up my body count and then wanting to have a streak. And here's the thing. Semen retention is a practice, a continual practice. It's not something that you start and stop, in my viewpoint. Something you can start and stop, but to me, it's something that should be a natural, innate habit, a byproduct of just who you are as a man. It's unfortunate that society, especially in the modern age, has been so conditioned, the men in this era, that porn is normal. Porn and masturbation, PMO, porn, masturbation, orgasm, is normal. It is not normal at all. This is super normal stimuli that is being used to really, in some way, systematically destroy testosterone relationships and lead to infertility, erectile dysfunction, a number of things, right? Now, I don't want to be on here as a doomsayer and saying like this is horrible, like blah blah blah. I want to approach this from a spiritual lens as well and give you my experience. I've gone on semen retention for a year at a time at one point. I've done it for months at a time, and most recently, I almost hit 6 months before stumbling. And so, while this is a very long introduction, I do feel it necessary to give you some context because I want to tell you about where I fell and how you should approach it if it's something you choose to do. So recently, almost hit 6 months, I read this book, PDF, called The Easy Peasy Method, which I highly recommend, by these guys. I don't remember the name, but I can link it in the description. And incredible book. But what I found to be the case, and I'm going to approach this, like I said, in a spiritual lens, because this time, while I was on semen retention, a lot of things happened. And I grew in my faith, is the biggest one. Watching no porn, not masturbating. I found myself down a rabbit hole of discovery, let's say, on TikTok, of all these different things, of all these videos that were essentially revealing demonic presences in society. And I was like, okay, let's follow this thread. And the more I went down this hole, the more that I came to the conviction that this is real. The amount of atrocities happening in certain sectors of the world, in certain sectors of society, demons got to be real, because this shit's crazy. And I was like, well, by that line of thinking, if demons are real, what is the opposite force pushing against it? There's always the yin and yang, and that is God. That is God. And so I felt a strong calling to reinvestigate my faith, having grown up in a Catholic Christian home and school system. It was always shoved down my throat, but this time I was curious. And so I started watching this show called The Chosen, which a friend of mine at the time kept talking about. So started watching that. And then it all started kind of clicking for me. Like, oh, this makes sense. I believe this. And then I did more research on semen retention at the time as well, and found the link between just like spirituality and life force. And when you think about it, I mean, this is just objectively a truth. Semen is life. It is a crucial element to creating life. And so when I was younger, and you fap, if you fap or you watch porn, right? You're literally throwing your life away. And I was always, when I was younger, like, why am I tired all the time? Why am I have no energy? I should be virile and full of life. It's because I was throwing it away. And so when I went on the semen retention journey, I didn't watch any porn at all. But and we'll come back to that though. And as a result, I did have more energy, but I went through a period of molting. And what happened is my identity really shifted. It may coincide with turning 30, that may be a part of it, but there was a deep transformation, identity-wise, that happened. And I really started questioning everything. I don't know if it coalesces because of the semen retention, but maybe exacerbated by it. I don't know. But I started questioning everything. What's the purpose of life? What is my meaning here? Is everything just a distraction and then we die? All of these questions. And it took me to some dark places that I really had to investigate and examine the patterns of my thinking, the patterns of how I was viewing women, and my thought process around them. And I had to learn how to separate, in that regard, fantasy from reality, because pornography is all fantasy. It's fake. It's simulated. It's staged in many ways. Even if it doesn't appear to be, there is someone who says, we're going to record this, we're going to press record, and now we're in this simulation, right? Real sex does not happen that way. It's a challenging thing, because while I was examining myself and asking myself these questions, I was noticing that at the same time I was having more energy, and I was less tired and more confident, and my presence was greater. And the one example I can give you on that, so I don't harp on this point too much, was about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, somebody at my gym said, hey, what are you doing differently? You have this aura about you. And I all I said was, I just decided to be confident, which is true. But when you're on semen retention, there is an aura to you. Your eyes become clearer. The way you speak, there's more conviction in it. The way that you just hold yourself, people can feel that. My anxiety vanished, social anxiety vanished. And I had to do some examining too, not only with the identity stuff, but all my other habits. I became more in tune with my body. I'm like, hey, I'm abusing caffeine. Let's slow it down. Cut back on that recently. I've done all these things which are beneficial, but the reason I fell, and I use the word fall because I'm getting back up now, is I gave myself too much idle time. When you have an extra abundance of energy, you need to point it at something. And the beautiful thing is when you can control your lustful urges, the energy that would be used to procreate and reproduce, and you can redirect it towards your purpose, which is a topic for another video, or some mission or your job or your work or what have you, there's an outlet for it. Otherwise, you just stay stagnant. And what I found myself doing was staying stagnant. I was just in my room all the time. Even though I had all this energy, I was doing all these things, this is where I messed up. And the devil really enjoys trying to get at you during this idle time. And I'm getting goosebumps saying this, just to kind of go full circle with the spirituality and the religious element, was that my faith was growing the longer I was on semen retention. I started reading the Bible and having this desire to connect to something greater than myself, and praying every day and wanting to learn more about the Word and deepen my relationship with Him, with God. At the same time, I was experiencing some demonic energies, like quite literally hearing growling in my room, which was crazy. And I shit you not, this is what I experienced. And that was wild. And I was watching a video just earlier today about someone else talking about how masturbation opens a window for demons to enter, and how this girl in her experience had it was a dream or something like that, where she had been masturbating a lot, right? And she had this dream that there was a window and all these demons were peering in, and that this masturbation opened this window. And this is something that I can attest to, because for me, even like so much so as like last time I did a round, my streak, whatever, I was watching pornography and my bedroom door literally opened by itself, which was wild. And so there is something to this. And this most recent time, the idle time created like a perfect fertile ground for this kind of demonic energy to enter, in my experience. And as a result, I noticed that there was a lot more lustful thoughts happening. And then that kind of piqued my curiosity. Well, what if I look at porn? What if I look at this? And what's interesting, and I use that word a lot, I know, is that even in the porn, the women's faces, there was moments where it looked like they were possessed. And that sounds woo-woo, but it's just my experience here. And that spoke to me, because I was clear enough to be able to be somewhat aware of what was going on. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of wild. Not having seen any of this for like 6 months, and then seeing it, I was like, this is kind of spooky. And then what's even crazier was the night after I broke my streak of celibacy, I had a dream, and I was being harassed in the dream by demons. And on my algorithm on YouTube, it was all these videos about like how God wants you to stop being lustful and how to get out of lust. And I hadn't searched any of that stuff up. Semen retention videos. And so pretty powerful. And so all these synchronicities happen when you're on semen retention. You have a natural pheromone, natural an odor to you when you're on this. And so one thing that Beyond Alchemy, Yash, on his channel says in one of his videos was, semen retention is a badass thing to do, and you got to acknowledge yourself for doing it, because it's something that everybody should be doing. Every man should be practicing semen retention. Anyone who says it's dumb or stupid doesn't understand, isn't on that same level of consciousness. So if you're watching this and you've been continuing to watch this, then you must be ready or inclined or on that level where you can understand these concepts that I'm talking about without being confused or think that I'm like a weirdo, right? I mean, you could think that, I don't know, but like I said, this is my experience. And so my advice would be, read the Easy Peasy method, be opening to deepening your relationship with God in whatever facet that looks like to you, but just be open to it, because that is the antithesis to the demonic realm, is the much more powerful, much more potent light side of the force, if you will. And be easy on yourself, because it is a challenging thing to do. And there's so many things trying to influence you and force you into lust, that when you can control those urges, people can sense that. Women don't have a power over you anymore. And so there was a lot of things that I was avoiding, a lot of shadow work and inner work that I was avoiding, as a result of either clinging to the identity of the body count guy, or clinging to the identity of the celibate monk. And now I've come to the conclusion that I just want to walk the middle way, where I feel called to become closer to God, but at the same time have these very conscious, intimate relationships. And be aware, I took this note down too, that starved intimacy is the root of lust. And that lust is kind of a way to quench the sensory pleasures that we all are open to experiencing in this human realm. But intimacy is a much deeper connection that goes beyond the physical sensory experience. And so when we're starved of that, it's easier to fall into lust and fall into something that we feel connected to, even though it might be misguided, like pornography. And so anyway, I hope this has shed some light on my experience. I'm intending to get back on the semen retention bandwagon, but not counting the days, not over-identifying or attaching myself to a number of days, but treating it like a habit. And sometimes you fall on your habits. You just got to get back up and continue going and continue distilling the lessons to the point where it just becomes second nature. It's just like breathing. It's just normal and natural and easy. And so anyway, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.